Hello and welcome once again, guys, to the drawing of the week. And this week we've got a picture of Thor and Captain America from Endgame. If you haven't been following so far, definitely go check out the sketch on Monday, the inking version on Tuesday, and Wednesday yesterday we got this completed on paper, and it was coloured in using Copic markers and a few felt tips and just a few pencils just to sort of get in that shading where we needed. Check out how I did all of that yesterday, guys, because today we are going to digitize. As you all know, I like to use Critter, and we're in Critter right now. There we go. We're in Critter right now, and this was the paper version, and we've taken a picture of that. I'll keep meaning to get my scanner out and getting all that doing, but I just don't have space. So what I do is I took a picture of it on the tablet, and now I'm going to use that picture and can color over. Oh, sorry, not cut. Well, I will color over in the probably in the next video. But in this one, we will be doing just the construction lines and getting all of that complete. We will be using the tools down here. Watch up in the top, the middle right here, where my cursor has just gone to see what layers I put in and tap which layers I'm doing. I will be telling you throughout this video what I'm using, where I'm using it, and what I'm getting it from. But if I don't, indeed, definitely keep watching on this right side here. That's where the tabs are, that's where the tools are, and where the color is too. As always, guys, we've got something to listen to in the background. We're going to be listening to some more Thor. I think Captain America we're going to be listening to, and it's going to be the new Avengers. As the old Avengers have now sort of broken down into either they've gone way too old, or they've got way too fat and become an Asgardian of the galaxy instead of whatever he was before, just a Asgardian god. I don't get that, but anyway, so I'm going to be going over this with the pen tool here, down here, and just basically redrawing this again. As I do in every week, I do this, and you turn it down just a smidge, and you start making layers on top. Layer 2, I don't have it as layer 2 because I get confused with what layer it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this construction lines or con lines for now. Shorten it, it's easier, saves having to tab so much. But there'll be construction lines. We'll use that one, and I might add another layer. So let's add another layer on top of that and call that one, I don't know, it's con 2, just in case we need to do the construction. No, we need the construction lines, so we'll call that one color for next time, because you'll see in the other videos I use different layers for coloring and stuff like that, but we'll need to have the coloring underneath the construction lines, and that is what we are going to do today. So keep watching, guys. Again, you can leave me a comment in the live section. All you got to do is say hi in the comments. Comments. I think I got that right. Yeah. Say hi in the comments and get involved, guys. We are live. The next stages will be recorded, so don't forget to hit subscribe and ding the bell for notifications so you know when they have been uploaded. Otherwise, enjoy, and we'll start going. I'll have my phone open, so you guys, if you are going to leave a comment, if I don't see it straight away, I do apologise. But if you've left me a comment on watching this back, my name's Blut084, BLUT084 Art and Games. I'm here every single day on YouTube, occasionally on a Mixer where I do some gaming, and on Instagram every day and night for chat and just daily updates. Play. Oh, I know why. No, I haven't pressed on.
Doubted that I just might to help you understand.
We'll get that going. So I'm going to just get on with it, guys, and start digitizing what we did.
The characters and turning it into a motion movie where I get to pretend I'm giving you a cartoon. Today we're going to be bringing you the beginning of the new Avengers team. They are finally together again. and this is my favorite incarnation of the Avengers in a very long time. So today we're going to bring you issues 1 through 3, and I'll explain what's happening next at the end of the video. Enjoy! 1 million years ago, 7 heroes were tasked to save the Earth from ultimate destruction. Agimoto, the first Sorcerer Supreme, Starbreath, the Cosmic Hulk, the Rider, the Panther, Iron Fist, Phoenix, and they were all led by the All-Father, Odin of Borson. Odin lifts his mug shouting, "Here's to all endings and to good death for us all." And Phoenix asks, "Is this really the time for drinking?" Odin wipes his mouth and he says, "I imagine your 2 eyes work better than my 1, in which case 'tis a very good time." The Rider yells, "We've killed one of these things before. The spirit of vengeance does not fear, neither does his rider." Agimoto tells him the one that we fought was weakened, infected with something. Even the Sorcerer Supreme still cannot explain. These new ones are not. They know what was done to their compatriot. Odin goes back to fill his mug and Phoenix asks, "Is the vaulted Allfather of Asgard not even going to fight?" Odin turns back shouting, "Odin Borson has never walked away from a fight in his entire immortal life. I, woman, I shall fight. Till I have drenched the battlefield with every last drop of my holy blood, I shall fight. And then, once it's all laid to waste, my spirit will fly to us in the void, and we will make love in the ashes of affinity for 1 billion years. We will build creation again." Phoenix leans in, stating that is a fine idea, or perhaps they'll simply kill everything that dares stand in their way. Be it a man or god or giants from the stars, they will kill it with fire. As Phoenix flies into battle, Odin takes Mjolnir and sighs, stating, "Gods, I love that woman. Come, Mjolnir." Ragnarok awaits. The rider hops on his mammoth, laughing, shouting, "Hiya! We ride!" And thus, the first and the last fight with the first celestial host had begun. Now, in the current day, Thor, Tony Stark, and Steve Rogers toast, with Steve stating, "To the good old days, to the Avengers." Tony asks, "Really? We couldn't even get through 1 drink before you mentioned the A word?" Thor slams his mug down, stating, "I was already through with my drink. Bartender, another!" Steve says, "I don't know. It feels like it's been 1 million years since I've said it. Or more than that, felt it." Tony begins to play with his tiny umbrella, telling him, "I'm just happy to feel anything at all, because I was in a coma and all." Steve says, "I get it. You're in a coma for what, a few weeks? Try being trapped in ice for the first 40 Super Bowls." Thor sighs, telling him, "I once broke into my father's private cask house, and I drank myself into a stupor that lasted 9 moon turns. I thought about doing it again, but every time I reach for a Mjolnir, that isn't there. And it's not like I could even lift it if it were." Tony sits back, telling him, "We make quite a trio. Hydra Cap, Coma Tony, and Unworthy Thor." Steve looks at Tony and tells him, "You know what we need? We gotta put it all back together." Tony says, "Look, we aren't as special as we once were. I could list 20 names of people that are better suited for this sort of thing at this point." Thor slams his mug down again, telling him, "As the stars are my witness, it must be us. It needs to be us. Now more than ever. We 3 need one another, and we cannot run from that." Tony snaps his umbrella, yelling, "What? Are we just going to sit around and wait for a startling new calamity to suddenly..." Just then, Tony's AI program, Motherboard, radios in that they're sorry to be that AI, but his satellites are detecting multiple energy fluctuations in a near-Earth orbit. Massive fluctuations. Ludicrously massive, actually. All of unknown origin. Steve grabs his shield and he says, "That settles it. Avengers up!" But Tony cuts him off, telling him, "If you say those words, you're picking up Thor's tab." "All right, which way, Motherboard?" Motherboard says roughly 200 miles straight up. Meanwhile, 200 miles straight down, Doctor Strange follows closely behind T'Challa, the Black Panther, stating that this is an impressive dig site. "But I was hoping that I was not summoned with archaeology in mind." T'Challa tells him that it is not the ancient remains in these caves that he felt warranted his attention. It's the fresh ones. Dr. Strange shines his light on the ground to see a decomposing body and says, "Ah, yes, I see it now." T'Challa points his light onto a wall with crude carvings stating that this is what these archaeologists discovered, emitting an incredible amount of cosmic radiation. It burned them alive, and then somehow completely disappeared. "That's what I need you for." Dr. Strange looks at the markings, all symbolizing the emblems of the current age heroes, stating, "An hoary host of Aga. The magic is here. It was Agamotto. The spells here are ancient, and as for the thing that they are meant to guard, it is quite large, something alive. Its fear still stains the walls." T'Challa focuses his light at one of the holes in the walls, stating that he agrees that whatever it was massive, at least 600 meters long by his estimates. So the question then becomes, where did it go? "I sent a probe down here 4 hours ago. It was 200 miles deep and it was still going to become inoperable. The deeper that we go, the closer we are to finding those answers. Dr. Strange tells him, I've seen this movie before. This is one of those things that blows up in our faces if we go blundering in. We need to call the Avengers on this. T'Challa tells him that there are no Avengers. The symbols on the wall date back to the Stone Age. Both of theirs are among them. Whatever is happening, they're already involved. T'Challa then jumps into one of the holes, stating, see you down below. Dr. Strange sighs as he phases to the ground, stating, oh, that's just great. If anyone needs me, I'll be at the center of the earth. Also, at this time, up in space, Alpha Flight begins their investigation of the anomalies appearing in space that Motherboard detected. As Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, flies close to one, she begins to notice something and tells the station to sound every global alarm that they have. And that's when a giant hand reaches out to grab her. Back on Earth, Motherboard tells Tony, Steve, and Thor that the anomalies in orbit are suddenly spiking. They look very much like teleportation nexuses. Tony tells them, okay, sort them out. Use every Stark satellite and disruptor drone that we've got up there. And Motherboard says that they've already tried them. Whatever is causing this is technology far beyond anything that they have ever encountered. Steve tells him, all right, then we're going to have to head up there. Tony yells, the Quinjet is not capable of space travel. And just then, a blue light begins to shine in the sky, and Tony says, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, it's coming down to us. Back at the Earth's core, Doctor Strange appears through the ceiling, stating that if it wasn't for his magic, the pressure would be crushing him into a puff of goo. How are you not actually, never mind, I nearly forgot. You're the Black Panther. T'Challa looks around at the hundreds of green egg sacs, stating that these things are not of this world. No life signs, but their reading is dormant. Back up on the surface in East LA, Robbie Reyes looks closely at the hood of his Hell Charger, stating that he hasn't slept in 3 days. You know, he might have never gotten into this whole thing if he had driven a Pinto or something. As Robbie gets ready to climb back inside of his car, he feels a rumble and a hole in the ground begins to open. Large green grubs begin to crawl out, and Robbie begins to shout, holy! If they're from hell to repossess the car, go right ahead. But if you think you're going to come here and lay a hand or claw or whatever on my family, then you're going to have some hell of your own to pay. Back in New York along the Hudson, Tony flies over a giant celestial body asking, so why is the body of the ancient star-spawned supergiants who judge and destroy entire worlds here? Carol pulls herself out from under part of the celestial body, stating, hey there, looks like it picked a good time to get the band back together, Tony. As everyone runs over, Tony asks, did you just kill that thing? And Carol tells him, no, it was dead when it came out of the portal. All I did was keep it from landing on Times Square. There's no time to stand around there. There's dozens more falling from the sky, and we need to stop them all. All across the world, the bodies of dead Celestials begin to fall from space, destroying everything that they touch. But while some heroes try to figure out what's going on, others find themselves fighting against the swarm of newly hatched bugs. As Tony begins to suit up, he asks one mind-boggling question. If the Celestials are all powerful, then what the hell is strong enough to kill them? As Thor shoots off into the sky, he bounces off of something, and Steve tells him, I'm pretty sure that question just got answered. Enter the Celestials, known as the final host. Tony asks Steve if there's anything else he'd like to add before they do this. And Steve pulls his mask down, telling him, only one thing comes to mind. Tony sighs, telling him, fine. Just say it so we can get to work. Steve grabs his shield, and he stares into the sky, shouting, Avengers, assemble! Over the side of the celestial body, a perfectly calm Jennifer Walter stops her jump, telling herself that she really should walk away from this. This is totally out of her pay grade, and it won't be good for her delicate treatment right now. Except something is drawing her to it. As she looks up, she sees several bugs crawling out. She says, yep, that settles it. She's an idiot. She runs away yelling for everyone to get away, but a second later she begins to hulk out, shouting, oh, squish! Just then the hand of a celestial raises and slams back down. Jennifer looks over, stating, you not dead? Yes, as in Hulk here. Hear voice and head. But Hulk not understand. What is cure? Cure for what? But before she can finish the thought, she suddenly disappears. Out on the highway, Robbie Reyes is racing towards the fallen body, stating, for months my car wouldn't shut the hell up, but now there's giant spacemen falling from the sky and crazy super roaches trying to eat my bones, and wow! He slams the brakes as he stops just before seeing Jennifer Walters appearing, stating, okay, sure, why not? Back in New York, Tony hits the final host with another repulsor blast, and Motherboard tells him that his efforts appear to be remarkably unsuccessful. So he begins to yell, that's not true! I'm pretty sure I made it blink! The final host smacks Thor away, and Carol catches him asking, did anyone misplace a god? As Thor flies back into the fight, Carol goes on stating, we've done a pretty good job, but I've dealt with Celestials before and lived to fill out the paperwork. Just then there's a loud boom as a pod lands in front of her. She reaches in, pulling out several small devices, stating hopefully these Omega-level warp grenades attuned to the coordinates of the sun will do the trick. But back over with Robbie Reyes, he's beginning to realize that making his car hit a hulked-out Jennifer Walters is a very, very bad idea, because now he's dealing with She-Hulk. Back with Tony and Carol, they get ready to set off the grenades on the final host when they see Steve and the Quinjet distracting them. One of the hosts reaches out and begins to dismantle the ship, electrocuting Steve in the process. Everyone runs in to try and save him, but out of nowhere, the Celestial that teleported Jennifer away gets up and punches one of the final hosts. Now, if you think back to the whole Ghost Rider Robbie Reyes moment with She-Hulk, you would assume that he's probably getting beat senselessly by Jennifer Walters. And you'd be right. Just as Robbie thinks that he has her contained, the two begin to feel a rumble, and the ground splits open, just as it did in front of Robbie's house. Robbie tells Jennifer that he knows that she probably doesn't want a friend right now, but by the looks of these bugs, we might want to reconsider our actual friendship for a bit. However, back in New York, the Celestial that attempted to save Steve finds himself with his neck at the end of a sight held by the final host. Steve shouts to Carol to use the grenade, send him off with those things, and she tells him, we're going to have to get him clear but before she could finish, her and the others are hit with a paralyzing blast, and a familiar voice calls out to them. Loki floats down stating, I see you have met my new friends, the final host. Don't mind me, though. I'm just here to lend a helping hand as we avenge the greatest wrong of all time, and to correct the grievous mistake made 1 million years ago. There will be salvation through global extinction, and it begins now. But while Loki has now made his presence known, back on the highway, Robbie Reyes and Jennifer finish off the last of the bugs, with Robbie seeing Jennifer isn't really backing down. He tells her, look, we just killed a bunch of giant roaches together. That means we're friends now. And friends don't go smashing each other, right? She begins to feel something calling out to her, and she yells, voice in head won't shut up. Stupid beauty, dead space giant. Stupid voice saying, "Arr!" She begins to lift both her arms above her head, and then she slams them into the ground, creating a giant hole, shouting, "Go to hell!" As Robbie watches, he sighs, stating that the scariest part about this whole thing, that she seems to know more about what's going on than him. That was either her telling him off or inviting him along. Why does he feel like he's going to get punched a lot along the way? Well, here I go. Back in New York, Tony sighs, telling everyone, things just keep getting better. Before he yells to Loki, asking, what have you done? And Loki tells him, oh, you can't blame me for all of this. I'm merely a facilitator. This is all the handiwork of the final host. And this moment of cleansing has been unavoidable for a very long time, since the dawn of the disease called man. I'm kind of surprised that beloved Allfather Odin never told you, brother. Perhaps Loki isn't the only god of lies. By the way, I'm going to be taking those warp grenades if you don't mind. Thor struggles to move, yelling, I will slay you for this 1,000 times over. And Loki tells him, oh, yeah, I'm sure you will. You're the Avengers, after all. But believe me, when the final hosts are finished here, there will be nothing left of this world to avenge. Loki begins to bring the warp grenades closer, with Steve telling him that he has a better idea, and he manages to reach for his shield, throwing it out. Before Loki could get his hands on the grenades, Steve tells everyone that he'll see them in the stars, and the shield detonates the warp grenades. In a flash, Steve, Loki, and the final host all disappear. Thor asking, where did they go? Carol tells him that if the warp grenades worked like they should, they just popped into the sun. Down at the center of the Earth, though, if you remember, we have Doctor Strange and T'Challa down there, fighting back the unending swarm of bugs, with Doctor Strange asking, is it me or are these things getting stronger? T'Challa telling him, it's not just you. Their power levels are rapidly expanding. They've tapped into a new energy source and they're feeding on the sun. This is a lost cause. So use that magic to get us out of here. I'll hold them all off as long as I can. Doctor Strange tells him, you know I'm not going to leave you behind, so you better figure out a better. But just then, the cave begins to tremble, and Doctor Strange shouts, you know what? I'm taking it back. I'm definitely
I can save it a minute, guys.
Wait, what does that sound?
When it does that,
it
may shut itself down. It was streaming
Ghost Rider and She-Hulk coming barreling in. Robbie says, hey, we're the good guys. Maybe. Elsewhere, Steve slowly begins to wake up, and as he looks around, he asks what's happening. Loki tells him, wake up, you're going to want to see this. It's not every day that you get to see a star from the inside. Steve says, wait, we're inside of the sun? How? And Loki says, yes, well, you're quite welcome for being safe. Lucky for you, it's quite difficult to murder a sorcerer of my power. Not that there are many other sorcerers of my caliber. Steve throws his shield and he yells into a radio to hit the sun with everything they've got. Loki deflects the throw, telling him, come on, we don't have time for that. Do you really want to render unconscious the only god who's barely keeping you alive? Besides, there's something I want to show you. Steve struggles to break free from Loki's grasp, telling him, it doesn't matter what happens to me. The Avengers won't stop fighting. Loki asks, fighting? You know what happened to Midgard? Fighting? I'm sorry at this point, but there's going to be no battle between the Avengers and the final host. Down on Earth, Carol is listening in on the radio.
Hang on, we got to do all that again.
Alpha Flight confirmed. Tony tells her, of course he made it. That old man will outlive all of us. Carol says, yeah, well, all the others are alive too.
Okay, well,
Tony steps up shouting,
critter
it's all
document.
my fault. This is exactly the sort of cosmic catastrophe
type
you're supposed
like
to
you
stop,
did
Captain Marvel. Carol yells back, we will stop it. Meanwhile, feel free to stay out of the way. But as the two begin to go back and forth, everyone can hear the sound of screeching tires. Then Robbie crashes into a building asking, so there may be a very angry Hulk in the trunk. Dr. Strange tells Robbie that he has some nice driving, and sorry about throwing up so many times. T'Challa jumps out of the car stating, look, there's more going on than all of you realize. We need all hands on deck. We need the Avengers. Over in the North Pole, the final host creating the bugs stand there, and Loki says, you know, it's almost beautiful, in a disgusting sort of way. Steve tells him, whatever you're playing here, there's still time to change the course. Help us stop this. We know that there's a decent god hiding in there. Loki sighs. You see, Midgard is such a simple place, isn't it? Of course it is. You're a soldier who came of age defending the world from Nazis. Where I'm older than your human race's capacity for walking upright. And with that sort of age comes a unique perspective. I have something far beyond your petty concepts of good and evil. But if you insist on resorting to trite labels, then believe it or not,
Okay, now that's
I'm
safe.
the good guy
It's
here. Steve tells him the Nazis thought they were the good guys too, even when they slaughtered millions. Loki points to one of the hosts stating, if his brand could even withstand communicating with a Celestial, then perhaps you could ask his fellow what he thinks. The Celestials came to this world 1,000,000 years ago in a state of distress, desperately in need of assistance. Instead, it was assaulted by your father and the primordial minions of Earth. Steve shouts, the Celestials didn't save anything. They've been corrupted, driven mad. They murdered their own kind. Loki said, yes, the treatments may seem unconventional, but we do expect a full recovery. If you don't believe me, you can visit the patient. The two descend into a hole left by the host. Steve asks, where are we going? And Loki tells him to the root of the infection, an infection as old as time. Back on the surface, Tony gathers everyone around and he says that he's going to recap all of this to make sure that he's not crazy. The Earth is infested with giant bugs, covered with dead Celestials, and somewhere out there, Loki and his unstoppable new pals, the final host, are up to something. Likely something that'll murder us all. Did I miss anything here? Jennifer grunts and Tony says, all right, we also have a raging Hulk here. That's sure to help us get a handle on things. T'Challa picks up one of the dead bugs, stating that he's been in contact with Captain Britain and the People's Defense Force in China. There are heroes all over the world already dealing with the destruction caused by the Celestials. They need to focus on preventing whatever is coming next. And Carol says that's right. That's why T'Challa and herself are heading to Alpha Flight Station to find out what the hell these bugs are. Tony shouts, that's just great. We're going to do this split up into smaller teams thing? Good. That's a solid, time-honored strategy. Just then there's a crack of thunder, and as Tony looks back, he notices Thor gone, along with Jennifer. Tony asks, did Thor just steal our Hulk? Is that good or bad? And Dr. Strange says, well, it's definitely bad for someone. Moments later, in old Asgard, Thor begins to walk forward, telling Jennifer, let me do the talking, and don't start smashing unless I do. Where are you, Odin? Odin leans up from his throne, and he says he's too old to be hiding. What is it that you seek? Thor tells him, the truth. For once, you're going to give it to me whether you damn well like it or not. Back down in the North Pole, Loki tells Steve to behold the root of the great infection, the reason that this world must die. Behold the progenitor, the father of the Avengers, father of them all. There you have it, the Avengers have assembled. Now, funny side note just for you guys. When I first did the line for that, it was my first video in a long time because we took a little bit of a break. And I was like, Avengers assemble! It came out just like that. Total voice crack and everything. So I had to redo the line because having Captain America go, Avengers assemble! It doesn't sound right, but Avengers assemble! That's much better, isn't it? Anyway, I probably cracked the mic right there. But if you want to know how we're going to handle this, we're doing it much like our Justice League series and Titans series. You see, the story is broken up into 3 to 4 issue storylines with cliffhangers, and they just keep going. There is some overall resolution, but there's a whole bunch of other things happening, and I'm giving it to you in breaking it down into basically 2 to 3 issue storylines so that you can keep up to date as to what's going on and subscribe so that you can watch it almost like a TV show. So Justice League, Avengers, and Titans are all being handled this way, and we brought you issues 1 through 3. See, my voice is going already. I can't even assemble the Avengers anymore. So make sure you give this video a like if you want more Avengers, you want more of this team, and just real quick, let me know in the comments down below. Isn't it freaking awesome that Ghost Rider's on the team? Like, what? Yes! Awesome! I'll see you next time right here. Recently in the Avengers storyline, a new team has finally formed up. And in the first 3 issues of this storyline, the Celestials have come to Earth to finally destroy Earth. And Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America have created a new team, which features Ghost Rider, Captain Marvel, She-Hulk, Doctor Strange, and Black Panther. It was pretty epic, and we left you on an insane cliffhanger last time with the Celestials coming down and us discovering the true meaning of the entire universe and of what the planet Earth's role in all of that is. Well, it's time for Loki to explain all of that in today's episode of the new Avengers run. And if you've just stumbled in here because you want to find out more about the Avengers comic books, well, this is the complete story series where we take some of your favorite trade paperbacks, single issues, video games, and movies, and we break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. We read them back to you like an audiobook narrative, removing some of the text from the panels for copyright reasons, and all art is owned by its respective companies. I hope you guys enjoy this. I'll see you at the end of the video. In our last video, we learned that 1 million years ago, Odin, along with the first Avengers, defeated a crazed Celestial, followed by the first host in the retaliation. A million years later, the current-day Avengers assembled as the last of the remaining Celestials. The final host descended upon Earth, led by none other than Loki. Thor and She-Hulk left for old Asgard to get answers directly from Odin, while Loki seemingly saved Captain America and brought him to the body of a dead Celestial known as the Progenitor. And from what Loki said, the Progenitor is not only the father of the Avengers, but he is the father of all superhumans. As Thor stands before the weathered old Odin in old Asgard, he says that he cannot believe that these exploits have never been spoken of. Odin tells him that he's had a long life. Stars would go black before he could tell them all, even the parts that are fit for telling in the company of a lady. However, there are secrets that even the All-Father will take with him to Valhalla. Thor says not the ones that he sees. 1 million years ago, he and his primordial allies defeated the Dark Celestial. They need to know how. Odin says, they did. They did fell a weakened and sickly Celestial. But Loki's final host, they are a different breed. Not even the Odin sword or the enchanted Jarnborn can bring them down. There are many things hidden away in Asgard, but none of them will defeat the foes that they face. It will only make their ultimate death far more spectacular. Odin gets up, leading both Thor and She-Hulk to a hidden chamber, stating that this place was designed by him so that no one would ever see it. But what's behind the door could very well be the end of the world, or perhaps even save it. Open it if you dare, Prince of Asgard. Thor hesitates, asking what could be so powerful that it needs to be locked away. But before he could get his answer, She-Hulk cracks her knuckles, ripping the door off. A wave of cold air hits everyone, and Thor asks what is behind these walls of ice. And Odin tells him that that is their problem. Thor grips his hammer, telling She-Hulk, "All right then, race you to the center, Lady Walters." As the two charge their way in, breaking down the ice, Odin quietly says that he is only racing towards his doom. Back on Earth, Iron Man and Doctor Strange head to the mountains of Greece to find possible answers for the Eternals. And what they find is death and destruction. Doctor Strange looks at the bodies of everyone, stating that, judging by the way they lay, it would appear that they did this to each other, or possibly themselves. Iron Man flies through the ruins, stating the Eternals claimed that they were created by the Celestial, and they were left on Earth to watch over humanity after the Celestial tinkered with humans. There's got to be something that we can... But before long, Iron Man finds the body of Icarus, barely breathing. He rushes down and hears Icarus stating that this happened because they learned the truth. The Eternals, they were great fools. They weren't there to protect them. They were to cultivate them. To the space gods, the humans were a useful pathogen. They were the ultimate. Icarus screams out, and Iron Man yells to Doctor Strange to do something, but Doctor Strange tells him, "I'm trying, but I fear we may have been too late." Icarus continues, stating that the final host, don't let them unleash the Horde. Only the Unimind can stop them. Iron Man asks, what is he talking about? And Icarus reaches up, touching Iron Man's face, telling him that only you can be the cure. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Ghost Rider was left to himself after he pulled off a piece of celestial tech from one of the dozens of dead Celestials that fell to the Earth. He uses his Hell Charger to try and locate the final host, and after learning that Loki and the Dark Celestials had escaped being warped into the sun, it brings him to the North Pole. He races over the icy waters, stating, "Great, I see the final host. Now what the hell am I supposed to do?" Suddenly the Hell Charger pulls itself underneath the ice, and Ghost Rider says, "That's pretty cool. Didn't know I had a submarine mode. Guess I'm supposed to sneak up on them, huh?" Suddenly, right, they'll never see me coming. It's not like I'm on fire or anything. Back in old Asgard, Thor and She-Hulk continue breaking through the endless walls of ice when they finally reach the center of the room, revealing what they have been looking for. A large blue jewel known as the blood of Ymir, the first of the ice colossi, the father of all the giants. Thor says there it is. With that they can. But before he can finish, he collapses, stating it's too cold. Take it, She-Hulk, while you still. She-Hulk scoffs, telling him, Beauty Thor is cold. Why not say so? Hulk warm as there is. And then she kisses him, giving Thor her radiating heat. A short while later, outside the destroyed doors, Thor walks out, holding the blood of Ymir, stating that you have my many thanks, Lady Hulk. She grunts, stating her, whatever. Want to smash things now? And Odin says, aye, that we will. With this new weapon, there will be much smashing indeed. He turns away, telling them, make a good thunderous show, boy. Just as you once did, and when it's all finished, when it's all come to its oh-so-predictable end, when you lie in the blood-drenched ruin at the feet of the final host, face your judgment like a god. Say farewell to Midgard once and for all, just as you should have done. But while everyone prepares for their grand attack back at the North Pole, Loki explains to Cap more of the story of the first Celestial. He says that the Celestial came by some cosmic design. It just merely fell. It fell because it was dying. As it turns out, even an omnipotent space god can get sick every now and then. And it came down with a rather nasty infection. The infection would be called the Horde. The Celestial had encountered a swarm of cosmic locusts that were traveling in deep space. In those days, the Horde would normally feast on infant worlds. But there was even more power inside of a Celestial they discovered. These particular Celestial are now hopelessly infested. The first of its kind to ever become diseased. Patient Zero. It landed on the muck of Earth before it formed, where it vomited and bled and wept its radioactive tears before slumping over and dying. That sickness seeped into the Earth, flowing through the shifting seas and the primordial rock and lava. The infection stewed for 1,000,000 years until the entire planet had become diseased, forever altering the Earth's evolutionary trajectory. But why is the Earth so uniquely eccentric within the near infinite number of planets spread across the heavens? Not because of some grand purpose, but because of that bubbling black puddle of celestial regurgitation. The monstrous things that would come slithering out of it, and the guesses as to what those monsters are. Loki lifts his hand and he points at Cap. You and your mutated gamma-irradiated web-slinging ilk. And this is who you have to thank, the progenitor, the god who died so that you might live. Down below the two of them, Ghost Rider slowly dries up listening. Wow, we're God's vomit. Yeah, I could kind of see that. Cap struggles in his chains, stating, you just don't get it. It doesn't matter how life started, it only matters what we do with it, and what I'm going to do with mine. Cap stands up, headbutting Loki, and Loki quickly contains him, telling him, I understand how you feel, however, my story isn't over. The next Celestial came to Earth in 1,000,000 BC, seeking out that progenitor who disappeared so many years before. The Celestial's name was Agard the Aspirant, and soon found the lonely place of the dying corpse, teeming with millions of writhing horde bugs. The sight must have drove the poor Celestial insane. Or perhaps it was the horde infection that quickly found itself a fresh meal. Either way, the Celestial found no love on this world. Instead, your father and the prehistoric henchmen bludgeoned the poor Celestial senseless and left it for dead deep within the earth. They hoped they'd seen the last of its kind. Clearly, they did not. But now, with two missing Celestials, Earth got the attention of the entire host. The All-Father of Asgard prepared to face his final judgment. But in its wake, none came. The first host left all as it was. They left the Celestial buried in the ground, slowly succumbing to the infection. It would have been that the first host feared falling victim to the horde disease themselves and wanted to keep it contained on Earth, and their plan worked. But no longer now, huh? As you've seen, all of the hosts are now dead, all except the final one, all except for mine. The horde disease did not kill Zagreb like the progenitor. They changed him into the first of their own rabid brand of Dark Celestial. He was named Zabreb the Sorrower, and together with the rest of his kind, he infected and felled every Celestial in existence. But as Loki goes on, he suddenly feels the pull of a chain around his neck. Ghost Rider tightens up the chain, telling him, cool story, but I got one too. It's called Ghost Rider Kicks Your Ass, and here's how it goes. A few moments later, Iron Man and Doctor Strange fly by, attempting to land an out-of-control plane when Iron Man gets a call. He picks it up hearing Ghost Rider stating, hello? And Iron Man says, how the hell did you get this number? Ghost Rider says, believe it or not, Howard Stark. Yeah, we all know that he's dead, but my car talked to him. Anyway, just wanted to say that I found Captain America and those space giants, and if you couldn't tell, this is Ghost Rider. Iron Man asks, where are you? And as Ghost Rider is dodging one of the Celestials, Cap says, I'm not sure, but I think we just passed Sweden. Iron Man yells, don't move, we're coming for you. And Ghost Rider tells him, yeah, that definitely won't be a problem. The sight of the Celestial comes down, narrowly missing the car, but the force sends it off course, crashing into a nearby village. Just then, the trunk pops open and Loki, now in chains, yells to the final host to get him out of this Odin damn trunk, burn everything. Iron Man and Doctor Strange rush to Russia, where Ghost Rider's signal cut off, and they begin trying to help the people of the village as the final host begins to set everything ablaze. Iron Man grabs one of the children, stating that this can't be right. If we were the Avengers, we'd already have a cunning last-minute plan to save the world. Oh, wait, we do, Doctor Strange asks him. Do we? That Eternal really fried your brain good, didn't it? Iron Man yells that he can't hear him over the thinking of his awesome plan. Motherboard, what's the ETA on that awesomeness? The motherboard tells him 3 minutes. As the two land, one of the locusts skitters towards them, and Doctor Strange asks, were the insects part of your awesome plan? And Iron Man tells him, no, but I do love surprises. A voice calls out to them, stating that they'll love this. A bolt of green lightning strikes, with Black Panther and Captain Marvel appearing, and Black Panther stating, I just used the lab's backup and Alpha Flight. Currently, me and Carol are charged with the same energy as the Horde creatures. And Carol says, in other words, just leave the bugs to us. As everyone stands before the final host, Doctor Strange says, great. The bugs are taken care of, and that just leaves the unstoppable space giants. Just then there's a loud booming sound as Thor and She-Hulk land, and Thor says, we are in need of faces to be punched, and that we can do. Doctor Strange asks where have they been, and She-Hulk says, smashing and kissing. Doctor Strange stares, and Thor says, and we found an ancient magical weapon that will help us stand on more equal ground with these dark celestials. Thor breaks the blood of Ymir in half and hands a piece to She-Hulk, and as the two begin to eat it, She-Hulk simply says, tastes like hell. Thor chews it, telling her, hell is definitely how it feels in my gut. Thor and the She-Hulk begin to shout in pain as power begins to flow through them, and while the others begin to evacuate the rest of the village, Cap gives Ghost Rider a little pep talk. Ghost Rider says that he would love to help the world, but he really can't fit one of those Celestials in the trunk like Loki. Cap tells him that he is more than a car, more than any Ghost Rider I've ever known. Ghost Rider looks over at one of the dead Celestials and says, I guess that means I'm going to have to upgrade. He runs over to the body and starts to climb in it, and after a few moments, he disappears and the head begins to burn. Ghost Rider stands up in the celestial body, asking, is this hot enough for you, Cap? Iron Man calls out, nice work, Fast and the Furious. Now what do you say? Ready to save the world? And Ghost Rider tells him, hell yeah, I am. As Thor and She-Hulk grow to the same size, they all ready themselves for the final fight. Iron Man walks out in his God Killer MK2 armor, stating, I'm pretty sure they all heard that for 1,000 miles, kid. I like your style. Now come on, giant-sized Avengers. Let's show these Celestials what it's like to pick on someone their own size. The four charge in, hitting the Dark Celestials, and Iron Man says, you know, this day has been so crazy that the giant Hulk has actually become a cause for celebration. She-Hulk begins to yell, no talking, only smashing. Down on the ground, Black Panther and Carol get to work on the bugs, with Cap stating that now he's got his shield attuned to the same bug energy. It's time for him to get into the fight. She-Hulk bites down on one of the Celestials, stating, tastes like bomb in mouth, Hulk want more. Thor bashes another, stating, finally, Iron Man, you have the body to match your ego. And I have a hammer the size of a battleship. Iron Man tells him, you are enjoying this way too much, Thor. Motherboard says reactors 5 and 7 are, but Iron Man asks, didn't you hear what She-Hulk said? No talking, only repulsing. She-Hulk knocks down one of the Celestials, and Ghost Rider says, wow, they really brought the Obliteratron down. Iron Man grabs the scythe of the scythe-wielding Celestial, asking, wait, you know their names? Ghost Rider says, well, the longer I'm side of this body, I'm starting to understand. The one on fire is Valknar, and this guy's Callus the Void. They're the leaders of the final host. If we don't stop them here and now, the Horde will keep making more. Callus headbutts Ghost Rider as Valknar hits Thor with a blast of fire, and he yells, we may be the same size as them, but we're still short on power. Callus then swings his scythe, cutting off one of Iron Man's God Killer 2 arms, and he says, sure, let's try this one with one arm. It'll be a fun challenge. As the massive arm falls to the ground, Carol says, thanks for the hand, Iron Man, but we got things under control down here. Iron Man grabs Callus by the arm, shouting, hell with it! I'm going to fly this guy into space and blow up the whole damn suit. If we manage to take one out, maybe the others will. But as Iron Man takes off, large hands reach up, grabbing him, pulling him back down. As the dead Celestials begin to get up and hold him down, he asks, does anyone remember the dead Celestials? Yeah, there's zombie Celestials now. Not only are we outpowered, we are completely outnumbered now. Thor struggles to keep Callus back and says, the magic is starting to wear off. And Iron Man says that if anyone has a Hail Mary pass, now's the time. But with no one coming up with any ideas, Iron Man yells, screw it! Eject all core! Maximum effort. As the GK2 system starts to surge, Iron Man ejects out stating, "That's 4 billion worth of fireworks. Never let them say they died without flair." Once Iron Man gets back to the ground with the others, he then asks, "All right, what's the plan?" Cap says, "Well, Loki said the life on Earth is the result of a dying Celestial." Black Panther then says that if that's true, then they really are Earth infection. Iron Man tells him, "Right, so why keep the world alive with the thing that could kill us?" Carol flies down stating because they saw the potential in them. They knew what we'd become. Something that could beat the Horde for them once and for all. Doctor Strange calls out, "We're the living virus vaccine. Celestials needed a cure for the Horde, and they saw that humanity had the potential to make one. After a few million years of simmering in a pot of infection and rotting Celestial, we did it. The cure is us." Iron Man calls out, "That's it! Akara's told us how to do it! The Unimind." Okay, I know this is going to sound really hippie-ish, but if we're going to save the world, we're going to need to be one mind, literally. Akara's put the secrets of the Unimind into my head just before dying. It's an ancient method the Eternals use to combine their energies. Carol tells him that if that's supposed to be a sex joke, she's personally going to put him back in a coma. Everyone quickly gathers around the one thing that is big enough to hold their collective powers. Ghost Rider piloting the dead Celestial. Doctor Strange begins to concentrate and says, "Ew, Thor and She-Hulk really did make out. Oh God, I can't stop seeing it." Cap then calls out to Ghost Rider, telling them, "We're all counting you for this, kid." Ghost Rider shouts, "My brother Gabe at home is scared. Screw that." As the power released from Ghost Rider knocks everyone away, Thor takes the time to kiss She-Hulk once more. Iron Man shouts, "Oh God, they're doing it again. Hey, Carol, don't you suppose you wanna?" Carol begins gagging, telling him he can go to hell. And once the power fades, Ghost Rider sits in the middle of a pile of dead locusts, asking, "Should we do it?" Carol tells him that he did great, Ghost Kid. The Horde is dormant. Black Panther folds his arms, stating, "Well, not all of it. The bugs inside of the final host are still firmly entrenched. We'll have to be pulling those out by the roots. Our fight isn't over." Cap helps Ghost Rider and he asks, "Are we really back to square one?" And Cap smiles, "Not exactly. We've got some friends who can help. On your feet, everyone. You know the drill. Avengers, assemble!" The Horde purged Celestials that were once dead stand up to fight against the final host with the help of the Avengers. And as they go into battle, the Prince of Lies beholds his utter defeat and rather unexpectedly laughs. Loki laughs so hard as he says, "Welcome back, Avengers."
And there you have it, more Avengers. I do want to apologize. We did part one. We did issues 1 through 3, and I meant to go back to the story, and I completely forgot. That's literally what happened. We did not delay it for a reason. I forgot. It happens sometimes, guys. But if you want to hear more Avengers, then let us know by telling us in the comments down below and giving this video a like, so we know, like, hey, Benny, I want to see what's happening with this Avengers group. I really like this Avengers group. And we are going to explore that Thor She-Hulk kiss. Trust me, they do go into that. Don't forget, you can subscribe to the channel, give this video a like to let us know you want more. And you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at ComicStorian, where we do a lot of stuff over there as well. Thank you for joining us today, and I'll see you next time right here.
Today we'll be covering Avengers issues 8 and 9, the continuation of the new Avengers storyline. Last time, the Avengers were called together to battle against the Dark Celestials as they tried to take out the entire planet of Earth. And we'll link those videos down below. But what you need to know is that the Avengers came together and it was a brand new roster, one very familiar for the movie fans. And now that they have come together, they have actually officially created the Avengers. So what's going to happen now that there is an official Avengers team out there again? Well, to find out, you'll have to watch the video. And today you have found yourself at Comic Story, where we bring you the complete story series. We take some of your favorite pop culture, video games, comic books, movies, and TV shows and break them down into audio dramas, allowing you to catch up and go purchase the next issues or game in the series immediately afterwards. Now, let's get on with the show. As the Ghost Rider, Robbie Reyes, drives his Hell Charger through the North Pole, he makes his way to the giant celestial that has become the new headquarters for the Avengers. When he passes by the security checkpoint, the computer says that his identity has been confirmed. Roberto Reyes is cleared for entrance. Robbie tells himself that it's kind of weird trusting all these new people with his secret identity. Hell, all of this feels weird. Ghost Rider is an Avenger? This isn't going to last long. As Robbie pulls up, Cap tells him that he hopes that he's ready to work harder than he ever has in his life. And Robbie tells him, "You betcha, Cap, sir?" Cap then tells him, "Just call me Steve. And I've assumed that all of your homework was finished." Robbie looks around the facility asking, "Am I the only Avenger still in high school?" And Cap tells him, "Yes. I'm pretty sure Thor got kicked out before ever graduated. But don't let that bother you. You're still the only Avenger who could take control of a dead Celestial and transform it into a 2,000-foot-tall Ghost Rider and save the world." Robbie laughs. "So does that make me the strongest Avenger?" But as he finishes, there's a loud whack as Cap's shield lands, hitting Robbie in the stomach. Cap tells him, no, you're the newest. Everyone inside of this mountain has been saving the world longer than you've been potty trained. Now it's time to show me that the other day wasn't a fluke. Show me that you really are an Avenger, Ghost Rider. However, to fully understand how we got to this point, we're going to have to look back a few days prior, shortly after the final battle with the final host. The heroes all turned to Loki and they demanded answers as to why he would bring such evil to the Earth. And his answer was simple, to reunite the Avengers. If it wasn't for him, they would all still be floundering, shattered, and hopelessly at odds with one another, still clueless as to their true potential and reason for being. Nothing brings heroes together quite like a good villain, right? If you all thought the Celestials were the only ones who see you as a great cosmic infection, then you would be sadly mistaken. You're all being watched right now. Even if you don't know it, you're all being watched from beyond the raw void between dimensions. When they finally come, they will lay ruin to all in the time that it takes a hummingbird to flutter its wings. But before the Avengers could do anything with their new prisoner, the Celestials took him, leaving behind a present. The only one who could answer what that present was Robbie Reyes. The Celestials had raised the body of the progenitor, turning it into a shining beacon on top of the world it helped forge. A beacon of hope, the wonders of life, and a warning about what'll happen if anyone tries to stomp it out. While renovations are being made inside of the massive Alpha Celestial, Jennifer Walters, aka She-Hulk, lays on an examination table and Doctor Strange tells her, "You're right, there is something different about you." Jennifer tells him, "Great, if you know I'm not crazy, or at least no crazier than the usual crazy. Just don't tell me I'm dying, Doc." Doctor Strange looks at the charts and says that he wishes it was that simple, but she is the Hulk. Her body is ripe with enough gamma radiation to kill most people many times over. However, since the encounter with the Celestials, those gamma counts have skyrocketed. Her body is now storing more gamma energy than ever before, and it appears that she will sometimes release that energy in the most explosive ways possible, more so than Bruce ever did. But it could also explain why she appears to have less access to her full mental faculties when she's the Hulk. She is in a sense becoming a living gamma bomb, and they have no idea what can happen the next time she explodes. Jennifer slams her hand down, stating that she has a pretty good idea. Bad guys are going to get smashed, and the world will get saved, just like before. These new powers are a blessing, not a curse. The Celestials needed her at her strongest to stop the final host, and so will the Avengers now more than ever. So they believe that they're going to get the biggest and baddest damn Hulk the world has ever seen. A short while later, Black Panther asks if they're really sure about this. Cap tells him, "We took a vote. It was unanimous." And Iron Man says, "I know how rare that is even for the three of us, right?" Thor tells him, "On this we all agree. There is only one choice for the Avengers chairperson. Congratulations, King T'Challa." Black Panther tells the three of them they will strive to be worthy of their trust. So then, let his first official act as the chairperson be stating the sacred words. "Avengers assemble." But as the Avengers begin to hold their first meeting, an alarm goes off indicating a level 9 international incident is currently underway in the Southern Sea. Iron Man says, "Great first meeting. Nice and short. Cap always droned on for hours." Meanwhile, over in the Southern Sea, the Atlanteans hang off the side of a Roxxon whaling boat, and the men laugh, stating, "Ted Atlantean, probably a delicacy somewhere, right?" But before long, the boat is struck by a giant sea creature, and a voice calls out to the men, shouting, "Scream, all of you, air-guzzling bastards!" Namor jumps up, ripping his way through the ship, telling everyone that down in the depths is where he'll be taking them. And no one will ever hear you scream again. We once again must look back at how this event came to be, though. It begins off the coast of the Bahamas on a cruise ship. Tiger Shark started to climb aboard to collect the toll for the humans that have been sailing in his seas when Stingray showed up to stop him. The two fought, arguing who was right. And all the while, Namor himself was watching with his war sharks. He stopped the two of them, telling them that their petty fight is over. The day of reckoning has come, and you have both found a simple yet profound choice. Join me or leave the oceans forever. Stingray tells him, "You both know this whole Atlantis attacks thing never works for my people. So how about we talk about it? I'm one of your oldest friends on the surface." But Namor isn't answering with words. He's answering with fists. "This man is an invader in my realm, and invaders will no longer be tolerated. The Emperor of the Deep has spoken. War sharks, finish him." The screams of Stingray echo throughout the ocean, with Namor turning to Tiger Shark, telling him, "I ask you the same question. How do you reply?" Tiger Shark looks at the torn-apart body of Stingray, telling him, "I'm not sure what's going on here, but this is a pretty convincing argument. Count me in." Back in our current time, Cap leads the charge along the bottom of the sea towards Atlantis, but he is soon met with Atlantean resistance. The heavy hitters take on several foes at once, but Robbie Reyes drives the Hell Charger through a pack, asking, How strong are these guys? They're tearing my car apart. One of the Atlanteans blows the war horn, and as the giant creature rises, Robbie tells them, I'm pretty sure I found the king. Cap radios in, stating, that is not the king. He just summoned a sea beast from the depths. Get out of here. But before Cap could finish, Robbie is swallowed whole by the creature. And then Thor rushes towards the creature, shouting, I shall avenge the rider of ghosts. Robbie then calls out, can anyone hear me? I'm not dead. Unless the highway to hell is paved with whale guts. Let's see how this super grouper likes spicy food. Robbie revs up the engine, creating a hellfire within the beast's stomach, and he rockets out, yelling, look at me! You can call me the human habanero! Elsewhere, Iron Man radios the Black Panther asking how things are going on his end. Black Panther tells him that the guards are down, but it's possible an alarm was just tripped. So Iron Man asks him how. You're the Black Panther. Surely you can hack through their tech. Black Panther tells him, perhaps if they had any tech, but instead I stepped on a starfish. Just then Namor shoots through the waters, punching Black Panther, asking, how dare you show your face under the sea? Black Panther lunges back, telling him, you don't need to make this harder than it needs to be. We're not here for war, Namor. Namor then responds, no, but you brought an army to Atlantis. Black Panther tells him, yes, I did. The most powerful army in the face of the earth. Thor swings his hammer and Iron Man charges his repulsor cannon, but Namor catches both. As he squeezes down on both the hammer and Iron Man's hand, Iron Man says, I'd forgotten how fast he was underwater. Danvers, end this. Captain Marvel charges through the water, punching Namor in the face, creating a giant explosion. But as the lights begin to fade, Namor stands up unfazed, and he says, every wretch under the sea would kill to lay their hands upon my bare flesh. Enjoy the privilege that you've just been granted, Lady Marvel. Namor then headbutts her away, with She-Hulk jumping in, shouting, Ish King, no touch, Hulk touch a lot. As she lands, she sets off a massive explosion, creating a crater in the ground. Namor jumps back, punching her away, asking, you're bringing a walking gamma bomb here? But just then there's a loud whoop as Robbie Reyes speeds in, hitting Namor, asking, did I just hit someone? Please say it was a bad guy. Namor stands up, lifting the Hell Charger, shouting, the Samaritan will never fall. Cap then calls Namor, telling him to stand down or the next Avenger he faces will be him. Namor easily tosses the car aside, telling Cap, you do not have long. Speak. Cap tells him, we understand that you want justice for what happened to your people on board the Roxxon ship, but taking the shooters and vowing to execute them will not bring justice. Namor waves Cap off, asking, is this where you tell me to trust the laws of man? Because those have never let me down before, have they? If I refuse to hand them over, what then? Black Panther tells him, one word, don't. Cap goes on telling him, the surface world is just as much a victim as the destruction wrought by the final host on the seas. Namor scoffs, swimming away, telling him, you may take the murderers, but you would do well to remember these words of advice. Don't ever come here again, Avengers. The Avengers collect the prisoners that Namor took and leave as requested, and as Namor returns to his people reject him. 3 days later, Namor looks at all of the debris fallen from the surface world, and he says that he has gathered them here today because war is declared. A few days ago, the world-destroying corporation known as Roxxon murdered our people and hung their bodies from their ship like bloody trophies. I have sought rightful vengeance. The Avengers thought to take those men far away from Atlantis, thinking that they were far from my reaches. Those men are dead now, choked on the polluted seawater that spewed from their own toilets. However, this is not the ending. This holy war has just begun. Let the Earth Breathers have their mounds of dirt and blackened skies. The surface has the Avengers. Now we have the Defenders of the Deep. And there you have it. The Defenders of the Deep have been born inside of the Avengers book. But now it's time to see what Black Panther is going to be doing with this. So if you want to hear the next chapter of the Avengers storyline written by Jason Aaron with one of my favorite new team members, Ghost Rider, then you should definitely consider subscribing to the channel and giving this video a like to let us know, Betty, we want more Avengers. I mean, I kind of assume you guys do, but hey, maybe the video will get like no likes and I can go, oh, I guess nobody actually wanted this one. Either way, follow me on Twitter at Comic Story and Instagram at Comic Story, and I'll see you next time right here.
All right, here, as you see, I'm getting on with some more drawing. We've done the Thor half of it already. It's absolutely crap, but as the colour goes on and I put shading and textures, it should look a whole lot better. Don't forget to subscribe, guys, and ding the bell so you can listen to some more Comic Story and watch me carry on with this drawing.
That is the Infinity Wars storyline. And today we're going to bring you the first half of it, issues 1 through 3. This is the Comic Storian channel, and we love to catch you up in your favorite pop culture, be it video games, movies, or comic books, by bringing you audio dramas of the lore within those universes. Let's just get started, shall we? Peter Quill sits at a table in another neon-lit bar somewhere in the galaxy. A piece of me is missing, Gamora tells him, standing over his table. Peter knows. He's sorry. Yet this brings simple glares from Gamora. That's all he has to say. She reaches out, grasping the case that contains the Power Stone, its soft purple light glowing through the clear plastic sides. With this power, they could force the issue. She could acquire the Soul Stone, opening it up to reunite with her missing piece. Peter takes a sip of his drink. That sounds like a good way to get a lot of people killed, Gamora. She understands. Yet she asks a favor of Quill, that he doesn't go to the meeting of the Infinity Watch that Stephen Strange has called on Earth. Peter doesn't have a choice, though. It has to be protected. They all do. If joining a new Infinity Watch is the way to do it, well, Peter will. Gamora leans down, kissing Peter for a brief moment, before returning the case to the table and walking away. Star-Lord wastes no time, exiting the bar, joining his friends, Rocket Raccoon and Groot. They knew that Gamora wouldn't join them. Earth. A portal opens up near Central Park as a bicyclist is struck down by an oncoming car. He freezes mid-air, though, as Iron Lad freezes time when he steps through with Adam Warlock and Drax the Destroyer. It is unknown how important this person must be, but Iron Lad still takes the time to save him by dragging him away from the accident. Moments later, a group of limos arrive, expelling the second group to arrive to the meeting. The group of villains, led by Bullseye and Turk, move quickly into the park. They're linked. Elsewhere, a young jogger and her dog are startled as a spaceship lands. Star-Lord, Rocket Raccoon, and Groot move off through the trees, heading to Belvedere Castle. Standing atop one of the ramparts, Dr. Strange looks out at the quiet night. Sorry I'm late, a voice calls from above him. Yet there are no need for apologies, as Captain Marvel is right on time. The two look down as the menagerie of villains exit from the trees. It's a raccoon with a gun in a tree! Bullseye begins to laugh and cry at the sight of the Guardians. He stops as Groot leans in, growling about how Rocket always has a gun. Dr. Strange quickly quiets everyone, calling the meeting of the Infinity Watch together. This is the closest that all 6 stones have been in some time. Even now, powerful beings throughout the galaxy might be aware of this fact. So Dr. Strange is proposing that the stones need to be separated and protected, preferably off Earth. Pass, Turk scoffs. Adam Warlock steps forward. The Soul Stone has been different as of late. It has always hungered. Now it feels starved. Captain Marvel steps forward as well. She agrees that the Infinity Stones should be separated and that no one should know the location of more than one. Dr. Strange agrees, but also knows that with all 6 stones, this may be the best chance of defeating Thanos early. Combining the power of the Time Stone and the Reality Stone, they can look into what Thanos is doing and see his every movement. An image floats hazily up in the air, with gasps escaping from the crowd. Thanos lays dead, blood leaking from his headless body. Elsewhere in the cosmos, Loki sails in his Guardian ship to the spot that Heimdall had marked on his map of stars. He seeks the answers to the questions that have vexed him for some time now. Who pulls the strings of destiny behind the scenes? What powers of fate direct him? Robed figures move forward, and as he steps out of his ship, calling out a greeting, the witches are awash with cackling energies. Infinity's end is here! They cackle, and they're suddenly gone. Loki calls out to the nothingness that he seeks answers. He searches for the quarry of creation. Another light washes the area, and a heavy figure falls to the ground, clad in green robe, wielding a mighty hammer. This new Loki struggles to his feet, questioning where he is. His armor glows with the power of the Infinity Stones that ordain it. Ah, you must be my counterpart, Loki Odinson, the much stronger-looking Loki calls. Yet this can't be right. Where are your Infinity Stones, your Mjolnir? Without these, you will not be able to breach into the original universe. The new Loki turns away. This universe is doomed to fall like all the others. Using his mighty hammer, Loki opens up a portal into another reality. But our Loki, from our world, tries to get some answers from him first. Yet is interrupted by a strange tentacle ripping through the portal. He turns to his scribe, questioning the horrible monster that they are viewing through realities. Can heroes triumph against such a beast? The screams of pain and spraying of blood seem to be their answer. Back on Earth, the meeting of the Infinity Watch continues as they argue about the future of the stones and where they should be kept safe. Turk refuses to give up his Mind Stone, turning on Star-Lord and accusing him of bringing a fake Power Stone to the meeting. The meeting suddenly then turns into a brawl, with the villains and heroes regressing to their normal state of fighting each other. And suddenly Iron Man and Thor arrive, trying to pacify the situation. Stark is then shot from the sky by a new being that joins the fray, a masked being, armed with a sword and the true power of the stone. Give me the stones and no one else need pay the price, they command. And to show their commitment, the newcomer tosses the head of Thanos to the ground. Drax steps forward, demanding to know who this being is. Requiem is as good a name as any. These words punctuated as Requiem strikes out, slashing Drax with their sword. The destroyer is launched through a building high above them. Requiem quickly cuts through the rest of the Guardians, knocking aside Groot and shrugging off Quill's elemental blaster. Rocket empties his weapon into them, tearing the mask to pieces and revealing, "Oh, hi, Gamora." As the rest of them continue to fight, Peter steps forward, trying to reason with his friend. Gamora will use the Soul Stone to fix what is broken, but she orders Peter to step aside, and he stares at her. For what? You're gonna kill me for the stones? But nothing ever stays dead, and Gamora shoves the Power Stone blade through his chest. You see, once, Thanos told her that the universe was molding the special soul that would be the bringer of his death. Gamora, clad in her Requiem armor, is that soul. Her blade slices through Thanos' head, separating it from his body. She pulls free her mask, staring down at her adopted father. This was the day that she killed him. Though his eyes were lifeless and his lips did not move, she still heard his voice in her mind. But back on Earth where we are now, Gamora stands before Peter, who refuses to move, and her blade closes in on his chest. The world slows to almost a stop as Doctor Strange moves forward. Lucky for you, Quill, I wield the Time Stone. The sorcerer quickly moves Star-Lord out of the way of the passing blade, and the world returns to normal speed as Peter stares down in shock at his body not being pierced. Did Gamora just kill me? He stammers. Strange merely nods. In another universe, Peter Quill is dead forever. The battle continues to rage on around them, with Turk staring in horror as the massive weight of Groot begins to fall towards him. Then once again, Doctor Strange is there, pulling him out of the portal. The two stand in a strange dimension where the otherworldly horrors are floating around them, with Doctor Strange offering Turk a view of the battle continuing in the park. Gamora cares nothing for the fortune that Turk has amassed with the Mind Stone. Should he hold on to the stone, Turk will be killed, and his fortune will be useless. If he gives up the stone now, he can keep his fortune and his life. The criminal ponders his choice for a moment before agreeing, under one condition, that Doctor Strange also owes him a favor. With a roll in his eyes, Strange agrees. And suddenly Turk is standing in his home, one time stone less. Drax demands that Gamora drop the stone, yet another blow from her sword draws blood as an answer. Drax falls to his knees with the mighty Thanos standing behind him. Gamora stares at the apparition, ignoring his words to finish him off, and she swings her sword, yelling for Thanos to be quiet. Groot is confused. The Guardians stare in surprise as they watch Gamora argue with herself as, Thanos is dead. Finally, the Avengers have arrived and stand against Gamora. Captain Marvel flies forward, rocketing Gamora off into space, commanding her to drop her sword in stone before she passes out. But back on Earth, Captain America commands the villains to leave and then watches the skies above them. The sword begins to fall back to Earth, so Captain Marvel floats back to Earth with the unconscious body of Gamora flung over her shoulder, tossing her to the ground. Magic energy twirls from Strange's fingers, restraining the warrior woman. You can have the sword, but we're taking Gamora back into space with us, Peter tells them as he steps forward. The rest disagree, as there should be consequences for her actions. The tapping of Gamora's finger against the earth draws Captain America's notice as the realization of what happened dawns on him. He tries to call out a warning as Gamora uses the Reality Stone to drop her disguise as Captain Marvel. Gamora is not unconscious. That's Captain Marvel, and with the Reality Stone, Gamora has swapped places. A powerful blow rips through Doctor Strange and Captain America, and one by one, she defeats the Earth's mightiest heroes, claiming the stones for herself. Adam Warlock falls next, his head severed from his body. Black Widow leaps into aid, but the Time Stone stops her mid-kick. Finally, Gamora stands victorious, and she claims the last of the Infinity Stones. The apparition of Thanos looks on, smiling his approval. Take your prize. Nothing bad will happen. If it does, you can always undo it. The Soul Stone opens up before Gamora, and the elderly Gamora steps forward. The two embrace, and once again, they are a single individual. Her soul is now one. Yet now the Soul Stone is imbalanced. Devondra must be fed. A voice reaches her ear. Stay your hand for a moment. That might not be necessary. Those are the words that Loki told her. But the stones power Gamora now, and the trickster god is quickly on his knees, begging for his life with her sword at his throat. Gamora already killed one god today. Why not another? Loki tries to tell her what he has seen in the other reality. She can sense that he has been to the god quarry, but there is something beneath it. She uses the stones to peer into the next reality, and she sees herself fighting alongside Requiem, fighting against Moondragon and Phyla. She watches, but Gamora is not concerned about these other realities. Only this one. Loki's words about what lay beneath the god Quarry intrigue her. Yet she does not need a guide. It opens up the Soul Stone once again. The heroes of Earth will face judgment. The strong will not interfere when their souls are chained together. Reality begins to warp and twist around them as Gamora folds the universe in half. You see, what Gamora has done is taken the idea of what Thanos did, erasing half the life forms in the universe, but she did it in reverse. She took half the life forms and combined them with the other half. In this world, Professor Erskine has set out to create a super soldier. Unknown to the government, though, the serum is not born of science. It is made of magic. Clad in robes, Private Stephen Rogers steps forward. The Soldier Supreme, the merging of Captain America and Doctor Strange. Elsewhere, Thor has mixed with Tony Stark to create the Iron Hammer. X-23 has mixed with Scarlet Witch to create Weapon Hex. Moon Knight and Spider-Man have combined to make Arachnite. And Ghost Rider and Black Panther have created the Ghost Panther. The reality that Gamora wanted is a warped and twisted version of the history of our heroes and how they've now been combined and changed. Gamora looks on. Wielded much cosmic power, have you? Loki snickers behind her. But she should keep in mind that much of creation was done by accident. Loki continues to spin his words, trying to convince the warrior to allow him to accompany her to the Quarry of Gods. He has so many questions, but she refuses. She wields the Infinity Stones now, and she's not dumb enough to trust Loki. She has infinite power. So she casts him into the Soul Gem, her reality, the world that she made. And with a hard thud, Loki lands on the streets of New York, with passerby seemingly ignoring the man who fell from the sky. He laughs as he stands up. He knows exactly what he must do. Gamora arrives at the God Quarry, now accompanied by Loki's chronicler. Once the beings in the Soul Gem are destroyed, she will create a new reality. But first, she must learn the secrets of the God Quarry, and the place beneath it that cannot see. Energy erupts from the stones and digging through the barrier that blocks her sight. Eons of dead gods are torn from their slumber as Gamora begins her work. So now Infinity Wars ended issue 3 on this bizarre cliffhanger, known as the Infinity Warps. Many books came out about the Infinity Warps characters, combinations of some of your favorite Marvel superheroes, like Wolverine combining with Emma Frost, or X-23 combining with Magik, or, Spider-Man combining with Moon Knight. So we picked out 3 of our favorite ones that happen with that: Arachnite, Iron Hammer, and Weapon Hex. And we're going to bring you those stories over the next week, and then next weekend we're going to be wrapping up Infinity Wars. So that means that if you want to keep up to date on this storyline and see what the hell happened and the weird world that Gamora made, subscribe to our channel to keep up to date on all of your favorite pop culture, be it movies, comic books, or video games. We do them all right here, and we have a lot of fun with it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you enjoyed this week of Infinity Wars.
Don't forget to subscribe, guys, if you're new to the channel. My name again is Blut084, BLUT084, to listen to some more comic story and also continue on.
Welcome to Infinity Wars. This
Wow,
is a weird universe in which our favorite superheroes within the Marvel Universe have been merged together. It is a part of what happened in the Infinity Wars comic book series. And today, we're going to be bringing you the Spider-Man merged with Moon Knight comic book known as Arachnite. What would happen if an individual who loves to crack jokes and swing webs is merged with an individual with multiple personalities and a dark secret in his mind? Well, today we're going to find out, because this is Comicstorian, where we bring you complete stories and we break down your favorite pop culture lore, from video games to comic books to movies, and make them into audio dramas. I hope you enjoy. It was the last night of the World Science Festival at the American Museum for Natural History several years ago. Young Peter Parker had convinced his aunt and uncle to cut through the park on their way home. May didn't like the idea. You know how dangerous the park is at night, she told her husband. But Ben shrugged off the concern. He could keep them both safe. Peter began to run forward, a young child with no regard for the dangers that hide within our world. Then a creature leaped out of the trees, attacking the young boy. Years' worth of psychiatrists would convince him that the green goblin-like creature didn't even exist, that it never happened. Peter tried to crawl away as the creature loomed over him when suddenly Ben was there, tackling the goblin from behind. The creature was too strong, and the life of Ben Parker ends with a snap. May tried to protect her nephew, but she would be taken from this world to the edge of the monster's claws. Peter tried to struggle to his feet, but he couldn't. Instead, flopping onto his back, he just wanted to die. And that's when he heard it, the voice of the spider. Let me save you, child. Let me turn this around, it offered him. Awaken a totem, a spider. You are one of us now. The spider's bite, it saved him. Its venom connected him to an ancient bloodline, healing his wounds and giving him unbelievable powers. And in that moment, instead of an I, Peter Parker became a we. The police found the bodies and the child. Peter's story didn't make any sense. The boy didn't have a mark on him. His description of a goblin led them to think that his mind had snapped. The voices in his head didn't help. Two demanded action, and one didn't know what else they could do. 15 years later, the hero known as Arachnite swings throughout the city, currently controlled by the friendly neighborhood Arachnid personality, fighting a living vampire on the streets of New York. Hey, blood banks don't work that way, Michael. You don't get to make a withdrawal. The web slinger quips as the fight continues on top of a speeding ambulance. Quick webbing pulls the creature from atop the ambulance, throwing it into a pile of garbage, when suddenly the personality known as the Knight takes over. The clenched fist of the group. You are a selfish, thieving monster who steals life, giving blood from the sick. This personality is more intense, going in for the quick blows. Headlights illuminate the pair as the car behind them pulls up. Ease up, AK. I think you got him, a masked Harry Russell tells him. The hooded hero agrees, but fear can be a powerful deterrent for the future. Leaving the vampire swinging from a lamppost, Harry and Peter speed away. Driving away, Harry turns to his friend. He needs the winning smile of the CEO now, not the crime fighter. A quick meeting nets them a $4 billion deal. And then Peter's off again, with the scientist taking the driver's wheel. Harry has to pull away the nerd from his experiments. He's needed on a plane pronto. But Peter just wants to run more tests. There's plenty of time. I have until tomorrow morning, he complains. But it is tomorrow morning. On the way to the airport, it seems like Harry is having trouble with his father. It's a quick stop to Norman's house. They won't be late. The private jet. We can take off when we get there, Peter promises him. At Norman's residence, Peter acts friendly, jokingly making an offer on the house. But Harry just asks him to wait downstairs. His father isn't feeling well. The sounds of arguing and items being knocked over reach Peter downstairs when suddenly his spider sense kicks in again and he turns in time to see the goblin come crashing towards him. He dives out of the way as the voices begin to argue and scream within his head. Where did he come from? Here? Now? Get it, now! The suit folds around him, transforming him into the hooded hero. As he swings off in pursuit, Harry comes running out of the house, yelling for him to stop. Personalities begin to argue about who's going to fight the goblin. And cornering the beast in the park, flashbacks suddenly fill Peter's mind, and his personalities begin to switch. He stumbles forward, begging the voices to help him. You're messing this up. We're going to get hurt real bad. Scientist Peter Parker yells for them. The creature attacks, and the blow brings the Knight forward. The Knight now going for the killing blow when suddenly he's shocked from behind. Sorry, Pete. I can't let you do that, Harry tells him. Peter stumbles away, questioning his friend, and then Peter watches as Harry bends over the goblin, picking him up as he transforms back into Norman Osborn. Come on, Pop. Let's get you out of here, he says as he walks away. Peter quickly recovers, pulling back on his hood and returning to Norman's old home. His mind feels splintered now. Goblin by night is real, yet he knew that, but now he knows who it is. Peter finds the secrets within the Russell home, a hidden chamber designed to hold the creature. The voices begin to argue again, screaming in his head. And exiting the home, they swing through the night air, with the Knight wanting to execute him, but the others don't believe in it. This is the goblin! The personalities switch rapidly, arguing over the best way to hunt the creature. Science Peter takes the wheel briefly, slamming into a wall, falling to the streets below. At Parker Industries, Harry is pushing his father through the darkened hallways. Norman believes that this is a bad idea, but Harry knows that Peter never comes down here. This is the place where he keeps all of his failed ideas and prototypes. Harry puts his father on a table, digging the Arachnite throwing blade out of his chest. The pain pushes Norman too far and he transforms again, with the goblin snarling at Harry from the table. Dad, stop! You have to calm down, he yells as his father begins to trash the lab. But Norman is gone and he lashes out at his son, sinking his teeth into the man's neck. I was trying to fix it, Dad! Trying to save you, Harry gargles from the floor. Memories of the night everything changed flash through Harry's mind as his life leaves his body. The noises from outside interrupt his video games and he called out to his father. There was no answer. And curiosity caused him to seek out the source of the noise. The creature by the garbage cans isn't a cat or a dog though, and fear fills young Harry's eyes as he calls out to his dad again. The monster stumbles and falls, transforming before his eyes. Harry, help me, Norman gasps. Peter awakens on the hood of a car with MJ standing over him. Are you kidding me, Pete? You're supposed to be in Beijing, she yells at him. The clients are furious for you not showing up. And the two drive back towards the office. Peter promised that he would take care of everything. The voices begin to argue again in his mind, but they don't have time. They need to hunt the goblin. The CEO will though. Peter spends a few minutes trying to smooth things over with their clients, and everything seems to be going well when the goblin, here! The hero turns with the knife taking full control, brushing off the meeting in Beijing. The wall explodes inward with the goblin launching itself at Peter. That's it, Norman. I'm right here. Bring it on! The knight yells as the two are launched out the window, and as they fall through the sky, the knight rains blows on Goblin, his costume transforming as they fall. Peter tries to swing them to safety as the creature's fangs sink into his arm. Well, that's a staph infection waiting to happen. The friendly neighborhood arachnid quips as he takes control. Anger fills our hero as he stands over the goblin. Memories of his loved ones filling his head as he delivers blow after blow. And finally, he raises a blade to end it. Don't do it, Pete! Harry calls as he flies in on his old glider. Peter orders him to stay out of it, but he can't. That's my pops. Harry knows that his father heard it, but it's a curse, and he can't control it. Him not being a monster sometimes doesn't mean the monster gets to live. Norman didn't take Peter's family on purpose, but if Peter kills him now, it will be intentional. Arachnite pauses, shaken by Harry's words. He leans over his friend, apologizing for what happened, but Harry begins to shake and convulse, his skin changing and a howling laughter escapes his throat. Peter goes wide-eyed as his friend transforms, becoming a goblin himself, hopping on the glider and flying away. Norman stares after his son. What have I done? Peter picks up Norman, now strangely cured. Together they will find Harry and fix him, just as Harry would do for us. And that is all we have for Arachnite. Now, who knows if they're ever going to continue this storyline, if they're ever going to go back to the concept of the Arachnite. You'll find out what happens to the Infinity Warp's superheroes in the next episode of Infinity Wars. But don't forget to subscribe to our channel, as we are going to be bringing you Weapon Hex next, and then Iron Hammer, and then completing the Infinity Wars storyline. So if you want to know what happened with this crazy other universe, subscribe to the channel today, and don't forget to give this video a like. I'll see you next time. Today we're going to be covering another of the Infinity Wars stories, in a universe where two different Marvel superheroes have been combined into a single superhero due to the Infinity Wars event, which you can click down below. We have a superhero known as Weapon Hex, the merging of X-23 and Scarlet Witch. And today, at Comic Storian, we're going to be bringing you her story as we continue our Infinity Wars coverage. Here at Comic Storian, we bring you the Complete Story Series, which is an audio drama of your favorite pop culture lore, from comic books to video games to movies. Hope you enjoy. Mount Wundagore. Castle sits atop a hill, a swirling vortex overhead. For millennia, unholy rituals have scarred and cursed this place, and also the thunder booms. Inside, a group circles the blood-stained floors where a young mutant woman is chained with arcane symbols. A demon from the darkest reaches of the pit peers inward at the offering of a vessel. Black tendrils lash outward, and the woman begins to scream. Yet despite the commands, the vessel does not hold, and the demon pierces through. Damn, I really thought that would be the one, Herbert sighs. Two scientists begin to get to work, examining the corpse. The science is perfect, as are the spells they worked on. The vessel should have held, so Dr. Kinney makes a theory. What if the problem is that their creations are too perfect? Fickathon destroys perfection. Perhaps they need something flawed. So later, the vessel is placed in Sarah, imbued with the strongest spells and enchantments. Surgery is a success. The child grows within her, and quickly she realizes that it will be a girl. It's a vessel, not a girl, Herbert tries to tell her. But Sarah won't listen, spending her time singing to the unborn child. Don't sing to the prenatal vessel, Herbert tries to convince her, yet it also doesn't help. Herbert is more interested in completing the rituals, making the child the strongest vessel that he can with his dark magics, preparing the warrior Hellhound as her teacher once she is born. Finally, the day arrives, and magical energy rips through the lab as the birth continues, until finally, little Laura is born. Act 2, they begin to test young Laura, and Sarah protests about them testing her daughter. She's a vessel, Herbert tells her, tossing the child into a pit with a cobra. If the girl is too fast for the snake and her claws cut through it quickly, the tiny child gurgles and giggles as she tastes the blood of her enemy. At 5, Laura comes running into the kitchen. Herbert smiles, showing Sarah the triggering spell that he created. The spell that shows Laura her target, sending her into a blind berserker rage. Nothing can stop her as her claws pop, and she sinks them deep into the pig butler. A concerned Sarah leans over her daughter, asking if she's okay. And as the spell wears off, it leaves only a crying child to be hugged by her mother. We need to talk before you do these things. You don't just do these things to her. Sarah glares at Herbert. He insists. At 10, she is training in the art of combat with Hellhound. Dr. Kinney is already seeing the future, though, and pulls her young daughter away from the training. She needs to make a failsafe, for if Laura ever forgets who she really is, for that, she needs her blood. At 17, 1 year to go, Laura has become a capable warrior, using her magically enhanced claws to defeat Hellhound, blood oozing out of her wounds. I'm done for the day, unless you want to get up, she glares at her teacher. Herbert finally seems proud of Weapon Hex, barely noticing Sarah's absence and the fact that she seems so tired. 6 months to go, Weapon Hex's first mission. Elsa Bladestone and her atheist crusaders are scaling Mount Wundagore, intent of ridding the world of the Demon Lord and his acolytes. Hellhound and Hex are sent to eliminate the threat, and the two descend from above, cutting through them quickly. But Elsa's attacks seem to have little effect on Hex, as she uses her magics to heal and strike against her enemies. In the end, though, Bladestone escapes. Her father is laying dead in the snow. Later, Sarah visits her daughter in her chambers, but Laura seems distressed. Herbert has told her that her empathy is a weakness, and she didn't feel good when she killed those people on the mountain. Herbert isn't always right, Sarah tells her. It's okay to care. Underneath the spells and the genetic meddling, you're only human. It's 48 hours until the day. Hellhound and Hex are sent on another mission to retrieve the artifacts from the midnight guns that will help the ritual. The two crash through the window, attacking their enemies quickly, and as they cut through the group, blood is spraying across the walls. Hex stands over the fallen Hellfire. Yet, she hesitates. Hellhound's boot lands on the man's face, stomping out his life. I gotta do every damn thing around her, she curses. Back at the castle, Herbert is angry that Hex choked before the kill. It doesn't matter, though, soon the ceremony will begin. Still angry, he orders Sarah to prep the vessel. Alone, Sarah explains to her daughter that they are leaving, that they have to run, because she can't take the chance that the ceremony will kill her daughter. But something begins to happen. Mom, you have to run. Laura struggles as the blind rage from the triggering spell begins to overtake her. She attacks, her claws burying into her own mother's chest. Then when it's over, she cries over her mother's body, apologizing. It's okay, honey. I love you. Take care of your sister, she tells her before dying. Elsewhere in the Cabal, Babel the Bovine.
Oh man, I can't get stuck here.
Along with her charge, Speed Weasel. Nothing can stop Laura as she cuts through the castle. She begins to threaten the cultists, and the panic screams from Weapon Hex being offline fill the corridors as she slashes her way through. I have a sister! Where is she? The door to Speed Weasel's room shatters inward, revealing Babel. The nanny introduces Laura to her sister, Gabrielle. I told you, call me Speed Weasel, the little girl states, peering around her nanny's dress. Laura questions why she wants to be called Speed Weasel, but she receives the answer when Gabrielle zips around the room in a cackle of energy. The family gathering, though, is quickly interrupted as Herbert and Hellhound enter the room. Come here, little Speed Weasel, Herbert motions, but Laura jumps between him, ordering him to stay away. Yeah, stay away, Speed Weasel echoes. Herbert glares at his daughter. Laura believes that she is safe because she is the vessel. Gabrielle isn't her sister, she is her clone. The backup plan if Laura didn't work out. Your use is at an end. Dispatch your Hellhound. Hellhound runs forward at the two of them locking blades against each other, with Laura yelling for Speed Weasel to run and destroy as much as she can. Babel pleads to Herbert, trying to make him see the errors of his ways, but Hellhound quiets her as she drives her magic blade through her heart. Distracted, Laura leans over her former nanny, tears in her eyes. The brief moment is all Hellhound needs as she rears up behind her. In the main chamber, Speed Weasel crackles around the room at a magically enhanced speed, taunting Herbert's acolytes. Run, run, run! Break, break, break! I smashed your stuff! She crows, but she is suddenly snatched from her run by Hellhound, the wicked creature smiling at her. The acolytes cheer, offering to kill Speed Weasel. Herbert is suddenly among them, ordering Hellhound to chain her in the center of the room while he gains enough blood for the ritual. His axe is hacking through the acolytes, spraying their blood around. My sister is going to kick your butt! Speed Weasel screams, yet Hellhound smiles, because Laura's already dead. Back in the other room, Laura speaks a magical incantation, pulling her severed limbs back to her, struggling to get back to her feet. I'm coming, Gabrielle. In the ritual chamber, the Demon Lord has risen, with black tendrils looming over Gabrielle. but Laura is there slicing through her chains. Herbert bellows at them. Their souls belong to him. Someone will be the vessel today. Hex and Hellhound then clash again as the black tendrils encircle Hex, and she casts a final spell to cut down Hellhound, turning her into a blackened and charred skeleton. Anger courses through Herbert, and he casts his own spell, bringing a storm of hellfire down on Weapon Hex, turning her body into a pile of ash. Healed from that, he says as he spits. Stunned, Speedweasel slows briefly, just long enough for the black tendrils to entangle her. As the Demon Lord begins to overtake her body, the pile of ash begins to swirl and transform, and in a sparkle of magical energy, Weapon Hex is born again. She cradles Speedweasel in her arms as the child transforms, a single tear falling from her eye. You're not a monster or a weapon. You're a human being like me, she tells her. Magical energy begins to flow over her, warping the room around her, and she glares at Herbert. I call upon the spirit of those who died for your madness to destroy you. As the spirits of the dead move against Herbert, Hex leaps at the creature that her sister has become, piercing its eyes with her magically charged claws. The demon's hold over Gavril is broken, and the body of her small sister falls back into her arms. The spirits of the dead cut through Herbert, leaving nothing but a chamber broken, destroyed, and covered in the blood of the damned. You're safe now, Gavril. Laura hugs her sister tight. We're both safe, and you can call me Speedweasel. What comes next? The young Kenny asks. The two stand with Laura taking her sister's hand in hers. I don't know, but I know it doesn't happen here. And the two walk out of the castle into the world. And there you have it, the story of Weapon Hex. Now, this story, in my opinion, wraps up in a much better way. It's kind of got some full closure, unlike Arachnite, where it kind of left us on a cliffhanger. This is just a fun story, and Weapon Hex was one of my personal favorites at the Infinity Warps situation. Now, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel, because we're going to be bringing you Iron Hammer very soon, and then the conclusion to Infinity Wars. So you want to stick around for all of that stuff. I'll see you next time right here at Comic Story. Today we're continuing the Infinity Warps storyline. So Infinity Wars got to a point where we folded the entire universe in on itself, merging two of your favorite superheroes. So today's storyline, Iron Hammer, is the story of Iron Man and Thor merged into one individual. It's a fun little story in our Warp storyline, and if you want to know more about Infinity Wars and how this has even happened, then check out the video down below. But if you're wondering where we are, well, you've stepped into the complete story series here at Comic Storian, where we take some of your favorite pop culture lore and explain it to you in an audio drama. Now it is time to go into the Iron Hammer storyline. The walls of the exclusive Icy Hotel glisten as the patrons begin to whisper. At the bar is that Sigurd Stark. Yet, why does the fifth richest man in Europe drink alone? They say that he seems cold and lonely as the very ice in which they are surrounded. Sigurd questions this himself, but the patrons aren't as quiet as they may think they are. Usually, Sigurd doesn't know himself why he's always so lonely. It took him 5 short years to build his company from nothing. His wealth allows him to surround himself with love and laughter whenever he chooses. Yet it means nothing to him. Success, fame, fortune, his technological genius, all meaningless. The only thing that would bring him true joy is knowing who he truly is. Anger of the unknown fills him, and he smashes his icy glass in his hands. After mumbling a quick apology, Sigurd quickly excuses himself, heading for the door. The barman calls out a warning. A storm is blowing in, and a man was lost 2 months back. Right now, the storm suits my mood.
Let's pause up there. So, guys, we've got all of the construction lines done for this part of the digitizing stage. It takes about an hour if you're going to do over your drawing. The last drawing took me, well, doing on paper took me about an hour each time. So, be in mind that the videos will be quite lengthy. So if you see the timestamp saying it's about an hour, don't forget you can fast forward to the good bits and see the bits that you want to see. Or you are here and put it on in the background, guys, and listen to it. We're all still studying, so you can see what's going on, and you can get to listen to Comic Storian. I have asked permission by Comic Storian, and I think they're okay with everything. So it should be okay for you to watch and listen at the same time, if you do enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel, guys, and come on back next time, because like you can see, this does not look great, but once we've added the color and using all the texture files down here and effects, you will see a big change. Well, I'm going to add a little bit shadow now. Whoops. I'm going to add a little bit of shadow now, just because I want to. So I'm going to make, because so I don't overshape that. Actually, do you know what? It would be a good idea to actually go around deleting all these little bits here. Right, okay. Let's do that, I think. Shouldn't delete that. No, there we go. Right, so that's because that's an underneath layer. I won't delete this piece here with the hammer or the axe, but I will delete things I don't want. So that'll work out in my favour, hopefully. Again, we'll do it here. Damn, I deleted. I wonder how much I've put there then. Sometimes I'll do that. But that's why I've got 2 layers of construction lines. Instead of just doing one, I can change things if I need to. Turn on the line as well. Oh my god, how much did I put? Let's have a look. Yeah, just the main little lines of all there. Okay, I'll bear that in mind because everything will be underneath color-wise anyway, so I'm not too worried on that behalf. See, I haven't done the hand. Oh, nice. Okay, that'll work for me. Lovely. Let's do it properly now. I just wanted to test that. There we go. Right, we need to get rid of that hammer as well. Over the top of the hand, we don't want to keep that. Doesn't make sense for you to be able to see the hammer through the hand. I have to make it smaller again. Again, guys, if you want to get this app for yourself, it's completely free. Or it's called Krita, Krita, sorry. Definitely worth getting. As you can see, I'm not the best at doing digital art, and I'm using a mouse at the minute, and basically going over what I've already drawn. If I was to explore and use more time, and because I take little time doing this, it's because of the YouTube channel, guys. I only do about an hour, and it's not that good. If I was to be taking a whole week on it without doing it on camera and only doing it an hour each time a day, then I would probably come up with something a bit more thing. But I don't do illustrations here for you on YouTube, as they will eventually turn into either book covers or t-shirts or stuff to go on cups and stuff, because that is my aim. I'm going to be sort of starting up a new shop at one point. People say merchandise. Well, I'm creating my own line of merchandise. If you guys are interested in anything that I've drawn and would like it stamped on anything, let me know. Where would you like to see it most? See, maybe not just this one. There are hundreds to choose from by now. Let me know. Go over to Instagram. Check them out. Tell me what you need. I'm trying to thunderstruck. Yeah, crap. Oh well, never mind. I don't care. That'll do for now, and I will see you again in the next one. Again, my name's Blut084, BLUT084. Click the links that will appear. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Like again, this next part will be recorded purely so you can see which tools I'm using, because I know using the camera like this live isn't that effective and is quite fuzzy. So if you want to see this in full quality, don't forget to tune in next time. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.